What is up, people? This is the Oracle, and we are back on MTGO, and I can finally play my first Eldritch Moon Shadows over Innistrad draft. And yeah, I'm super hyped about this. This is great. The thing is, I was working on the pre-release weekend, and then on the release weekend, I was also working. And last weekend, which was the pre-release online, I was in holidays and I wasn't at home, and now I'm back, and yeah, that's gonna be the first time I ever played a set, whether it be, sealed, draft, or anything. I have a bit of knowledge about cards because I read article, I watched games, and that kind of stuff. But other than that, yeah, I have absolutely no, I have some second-hand knowledge, but I have no knowledge of just playing the set, basically. Okay, Sea Guardian Priest is pretty good. Looking at that pack, one card for me stands out. It's the Smoldering Werewolf. That thing is pretty insane. Very, very good card, I would assume. Haunted Dead is very good too. I think those are the two best cards. That thing is not that great. This is fine, but it's, double colored and kind of a build around. This is not, it's a sweet card, but not something you should try to play in Limited, most likely. Cultist is pretty good, especially with Emerge. And yeah, the foul bloods are pretty decent. Other than that, yeah, I guess the priest is good. I heard that this trick is pretty good, but yeah, I think it's a werewolf. That thing is just super strong. Yeah, Haunted Dead pretty strong too, I would assume, but the werewolf just seems better. Alright. The Soul Separator is kinda slow but funny, and I don't know. I mean, maybe it's a bit too slow. I don't know, it might be a bit too slow. Droneyard Behemoth is pretty good, I would assume. Crusader is fine. Morn Willow, good if you're, Black-Green Delirium. Greeting is probably the pick I'm gonna go for. It's just a very good removal in my color, so, I cannot really go wrong with that. Desperate Sentry seems decent, though unexciting. I guess if you can easily get Delirium, it's a pretty sweet one. Wretched Grief, very good, I would assume. I mean, not very good, but very solid. The Scavengers are good. Slayer is actually pretty good because most of the time creatures with this kind of effect are bad, but this time, you have a 3/2 for 3, which is already decent, and then the ability can really be good. I think it's the greeting though. Not sure how good Soul Separator is, but I would assume it's fine, though not crazy. Okay. River is, I've heard, fine. I mean, obviously it's just a 2/2 for 2, but it's a vampire, and in red you pretty much want to be aggressive or very heavy on removal, and that thing is probably fine. Certain Death is a decent removal, quite costly but pretty good. Borrowed Grace, not a kind of card I like, but I think it's actually pretty good. Write Down is decent. The Shieldmate seems very good. I think this is the peak where I have to make a choice. White could be open. I mean, there's this card which I think is good, the Shieldmate which I think is pretty great, and Write Down which could be good in white-red. Prey Upon is another option, I guess it's a good green card. And there's Certain Death. I don't know. Everything seems potentially good. I think I'm gonna pick the Shieldmate. I like that card quite a lot. I'm not sure how good it is, but to me it seems quite solid. Ooh, that pack is pretty good, and there are still some nice white cards. White seems open to me. Red, I don't know. I mean, Brazen Wolf is, I've heard, one of the best 3-drop you can get, at least at common rate. It's just pretty aggressive. Not the best in defense, but if you are attacking, that thing is just good. The Angel, I mean, it's a lot of mana. I'm not a huge fan, but it's probably good. Though I'd rather be more aggressive if I'm white-red. Fiendbinder is fine. I think I'm gonna pick the Wolf. It lets me stay in red, which is a color I'm pretty sure I'm gonna play, as I'm not so sure about the white. And it might be slightly weaker maybe than the white cards. Not sure about the Angel. I'm just not a huge fan. 6 mana is a lot. At 5 it would be very good, maybe a bit too good. At 6 it seems a bit too much. It's probably good enough, but I don't know. I also feel like staying in red for now is decent. Ooh, choking restraints is kind of good. Uh, Slightly better pacifism. I mean, you pay 1 more mana, but then you can exile the creature at some point. It's slightly better in the late game. Obviously, the Emerge ability makes that card slightly weaker, but it's still pretty good. Graph Harvest, I'm not sure. Seems kinda slow, but I have no reason to go black yet. Bloodbriar seems fine. If you have a blue-green Emerge deck, it's probably even better than that. Terrarion is always fine. I don't think there's any argument for not taking the restraints here, though. Ooh, I like that trick a lot. I think it's very good, right? I mean, it's pretty early in the set, so people are not used to the card and to the cards, and I think getting a 2-for-1 out of that is gonna be harder and harder, but right now it's probably fine. And even if the opponent knows about the card and plays around it, they will not be able to play around it forever. They will have to make a block, and you can at least get a 1-for-1. It seems like pretty good card, and this can lead to blowout if people just don't pay enough attention. Guardian of Pilgrims, on the other hand, is a very decent 2-drop. I don't have a 2-drop yet. That trick seems very good though. I'm gonna pick it. And I think, well, there's another one, interestingly enough. Alright. Now I kind of wish I had I took the 2-drop, but I guess this trick is really good. And if I have 2 of these, then I don't really need many more tricks, and I can just focus on trying to draft some cheap white or red aggressive creatures. I think this is still better than a Desperate Sentry, especially since red-white is not really a color for Delirium. Pretty late Scavenger, I would say. I mean, that card is very solid. Funny that you can see the 3 cards if you enlarge. I mean, it's nice, it's nice. Yeah, I think it's gonna be the Abandon Reason. Okay, there's a mediocre 5-drop here. I think I'm gonna take, that's a pretty late Dusk Feaster, right? I mean, it's kind of a build around too. In the right deck, it's pretty strong though. Dragoons are pretty great too. I feel like my 2 white cards are rather good, so I don't really have any reason to go in another color. Dragon is strong though. Works kinda well with Abandon Reason. I could also pick the Field Creeper, which is not the most exciting, but I think at this point I need a 2-drop, and this is a 2-drop I can play, in whatever color I end up being, so it's probably fine. The Full Blood Wield. I mean, my pack was pretty strong, but I did not expect those to wheel. I'm gonna pick that. I mean, really don't like that thing too much. Ravings, not something I really like. I guess it's kinda decent with the Madness trick, but not that great. Yeah, I think it's the Full Blood, and we'll see if black is actually open. I don't think this should wheel. To me, it seems like this seems to be a very solid creature. I don't know. The Supplicant is pretty good in a black-red beatdown deck. Okay, so I'm red, I'm beat down, and then I could either be white or black. Ooh, the Reaver Wheel, that's super sweet. I think it's gonna be a very solid 2-drop for my deck. The Outburst seems like a decent one. I probably don't really need that when I have 2 Abandon Reason, but it's not bad. I guess this is a decent blocker against my deck. Alright, I think it's a pretty good start, honestly. The Werewolf, again, I think is very strong. 2 decent trick, decent 3-drop. I need to find some 2-drops, but other than that, I like the sound of the deck. The sound of the deck. That probably doesn't mean much, but you got the point, hopefully. Pretty... I mean, it's a lot of mana, but that trick is kinda good. I'm not sure. It can... it can be quite brutal. A lot of very good green card. I mean, Spirit of the Hunt is very good. The Howler is quite solid, though it kind of gets blows back by things like the Smoldering Werewolf. The Stag is very good, obviously. Um, if it was pick one, pack one, I would have no idea what I should pick, honestly. Not sure if Spirit is better. It's probably better than the Stag. Maybe not. I don't know. It's pretty strong pack, and the Stitchwing is good too. Here, I think I'm just gonna pick Galvanic Bombardment. Just very sweet, cheap removal. Spreading Flames is kind of good, but my deck looks like an aggressive deck that wants to have a cheap curve and be able to beat down early on. And Bombardment is gonna be better in this kind of deck than Spreading Flames. Okay, and there's a Brazen Wolves. Again, I think that card is very good. Long Road Home. Oh, there was a card in Kamigawa that did the same thing. It was called Phantasmagorical Journey, something like that. It's decent. Blood Mist is the kind of card I don't really like, but I've heard that it's actually very good, so I might want to try that out. I think both Blood Mist and the Wolves are better than the Innkeeper and the Slayer. Again, not a huge fan of this kind of card, but I've heard it's actually good, so I might as well try it. It's an uncommon, so maybe it's a better pick than the Wolf. And I do have decent amount of 3-drop, whether I end up being black or white, so I'm gonna try it out. This is typically the kind of card I would not draft, but you know, when people tells you something is good, you should at least try, I guess. So there's not so much in red here. There's a Wharf Infiltrator, which is kind of sick. That thing is very good, I think. I mean, it's not really a mystery, it's just very good. I could go in blue. I mean, I have enough. I mean, I'm mostly mono red. I don't need to stay in white or black, and none of the white, black, or red cards seems very good. I mean, Graph Rats are not very good if I don't have any Scavenger, and I'm not very likely to get one since we are, well, beginning of pack 2. I guess I could, but it's not so likely. The Crusader seems quite strong. I could pick that. I mean, it's decent. Wharf Infiltrator seems like a very good one, though. I don't know, it's close. I don't know. Maybe I should have just picked the black card. Ooh, Lupine Prototype is not bad, I think. You need to be aggressive, but my deck is looking like a deck which could use a card like this. Cultist Staff is probably decent. I don't have a lot of creatures yet, though. There's a Dragoon if I want to end up playing black. I think it's between the Dragoon and the Prototype. Prototype, I guess? Yeah, Prototype. Well, Prototype will fit the deck if I have a low enough curve, no matter what color I end up playing, which is kind of nice. It's not very good with Combat Trick, though, because you cannot attack. You cannot attack if you keep a trick around, so it's not that great. Maybe I should just pick Dragoon. It's close. I've heard that card is legitimate playable. I mean, it's playable in an aggressive deck. That's what I meant. I don't think I'm really the blue-red spell deck. I mean, that thing is good, but I'm not sure that I'm. Looks more like a beatdown deck, and I'm not sure this is very good in a beatdown deck. Make Mischief is fine, though unexciting. I guess I could pick the Guardians of Pilgrim or Ingenious Cap, but at some point I would have to choose between white or black. Currently I feel like if I pick the Guardian, my white is going to be slightly better, and I don't think the Recruitment or the Cutthroat are very good at all. I'm not sure if... yeah. It's hard. It's sure that I'm red, but I really have hard time figuring out. Sorry, which other color I should play. I think I'm gonna pick the Field Creeper here. I'm gonna be aggressive, so a decent 2-drop. I mean, just a 2-power 2-drop is gonna make the cut pretty much all the time. And since I don't really know which color I'm in, maybe or maybe I should just pick the Outcast actually. It's a fine 5-drop, and I don't have that many 5-drop. Yeah, yeah. And I'm certainly red. Yeah, seems fine. Ooh, Fiendbinder I think is pretty great in aggressive deck. There's pretty late Tethered Haunter. Feels like a good card to me. And the Scourge, not sure. I mean, I think it might actually be better in a more control deck. It's kind of annoying to deal with though, for an opponent who has a lot of removal but not many creatures. Don't know. Feels like I have decent amount of 3-drop though, so maybe. Yeah, Fiendbinder seems. I guess this fits any deck, whatever color I end up playing though. I feel like the Fiendbinder is really strong in an aggressive deck though. Ooh, Guy's Fueled Scarecrow. That's a very good 4-drop. Yeah, I like that quite a lot. It's pretty big. Pretty big. I mean, 4/4 will tend to dominate the board in this set, I would assume. Unless the opponent plays some emerge creature, which are most of the time bigger than that. It's gonna, beat most other stuff. So, it's kinda good. I think I'm white-red, right? Give no ground wield. I mean, this doesn't look particularly good in an aggressive deck. It's Trig though. And I guess it could be kinda good against me, so might as well cut it. The Innkeeper is fine. I mean, I do have enough 4-drop at that point, but it's definitely a playable card. The Crusader Wield. I'm gonna pick that, though I'm not so likely to end up in black. Guess, again, I'm gonna cut the Give No Grounds. Okay, decent sideboard option. And no one seems to be playing the base blue spell deck. I mean, non-creature spell deck, since the Homunculus Wield. It's probably not that great, though. I need some 2-drops, but other than that, I have some solid 3, a few tricks, decent amount of removal. At that point, I really need creatures, and maybe a little bit more removal. I mean, Greeting, Restraints, and Galvanic Bombardment is not bad. Plus 2 tricks, I guess. I mean, 2 and I'm not sure I will play that. That thing seems kind of mediocre. I mean, if you can combine it with Abandon Reason, and you get +2 power first strike, it's kind of good. But if the creature doesn't die, it's worst. So yeah, it's kind of weird trick. But I mean, what you are hoping to do with that is probably just make a 2/2 trade with a 3/3, and then you get a creature and it's fine. It's not that appealing. Okay. Anyway, Reaper is quite good, but I think I need cheap creatures here. And I think the Rider is better than the Wolf, but actually looking at my curve, I think I need the Wolf more than the Rider. Well, I don't have that many 3-drop creature actually, so maybe, I don't know. It's close. I think it's definitely between these two. I kind of like the Wolf though, and having a critical amount of 2-drop is going to be super important for this kind of deck. Rider is slightly better though, I think. But if I get some more 3-drop and I end up with not enough 2-drop, it's going to be super clunky for me. I think I like the Wolf slightly more. Engage Fury is probably not something I really need right now. I think I have 2 tricks that are approximately the same power level, if not better, and that do, pretty much the same thing. I think I'm gonna go with Gossip Monger, which seems, I mean, I know this stat, and Gossip Monger is pretty good in base white aggressive deck. I'm not really gonna be base white though, but I'll have enough white that playing that on turn 1 is gonna be something I can do. It's not the best combo with Scourge Wolf, I guess, but whatever. I mean, it'd be what it'd be. Machination could make it to the main deck, I think, and Stone Quarry be a nice addition. Pack is not so strong though, so I'm not sure that something is gonna wheel. Okay. Arsonist, I think, are strictly better than the Outcast. I mean, that thing is not bad. I don't know. Trample is kind of good. Silver Strike is really not a card I like a lot in beatdown deck. I don't think I need more tricks. I'm not a huge fan of the rush. The Constable could be fine. I have 2 madness cards. I'm pretty aggressive. It's not a card I like a lot, but I think in this deck it could actually be fine. I don't really want the Weaker Witch. Yeah. I'm gonna pick the Constable. Not a huge fan, but it's probably fine. Ooh, Duelist is very good for drop in any beatdown deck. Yeah, that's pretty good. I like that. Oh, Thraben Inspector. Not a good one drop. It's nice to have some cheap one drop. It will also make the Gossip Monger better, which I can appreciate. Could use one more 2-drop, definitely. That pack is strong. I mean, Just a Win, Rancid Rat, and Concoction. Pretty strong pack. Yeah, I could use another 3-drop creature with evasion. It's not bad. I think I like that more than Arsonist. And I really want another 2-drop. I'm super glad I picked the Wolf over the 3-drop, because in this kind of beatdown deck I really like to have something like 5 or 6 2-drop creatures. I have a few 1-drop, which kind of makes up for not having that many 2-drop, but still. Not a huge fan of the Wolf, but actually it's probably a fine 2-drop for my deck. It's kind of decent with Abandon Reason. Yeah. Alright. Well, this is 23 spells. If this ends up being my main deck, it's fine. I mean, it's probably not the best version of White Red Beatdown, but I have a good curve. I have some pretty aggressive creatures, some nice trick, a few removals, so it's probably fine. Probably not the best, again, not the best White Red Beatdown deck you will ever see, but it's a decent one. And Constable, despite not being my favorite, is pretty good in deck where you don't have a high curve and you can afford to discard, lands after you've hit your 4th and maybe 5th land drop. And it also works kind of well with, well, not really with Abandon Reason, because you don't really want to tap something mid-combat, but I guess it's pretty good with the Greetings though. And Blood Mist, not sure, but I've heard that thing is good. And I have 16 creatures, so yeah, I mean, it's looking fine. I have this Innkeeper. Yeah, 4-drop creature, which are all better than Innkeeper though. Ooh, Moorland Drifter and Tenacity. Whew, that's not an easy one. I mean, Tenacity is super strong. That pack is very, very good, by the way. I mean, Byway Courier still in the pack, Solitary Hunter still in the pack. Tenacity is super strong, but I need to drop quite a lot. But I do have a bunch of creature, and Tenacity is very, very good. It's gonna be Tenacity. Expose Evil, I think I like that more than the Outburst. I don't want to cut any of my 2-drop. I can probably afford to play 16 lands. Maybe. Ooh, Machination Wheel. Is it the pack I'm wheeling actually? Yeah. Not sure I want that in every matchup though. And I have the Blood Mist, which already does kind of the same thing. So I could play that in 16 land. I think it'd be fine. But I have a few ways to use my mana. I have the Wolf. I have the investigate here, investigate here. And I have a decent amount of 4-drops that I want to be able to cast on curve. There's nothing I want to cut actually. I mean, my instinct would make me cut the Blood Mist, but again, I've heard that thing is good and I want to try it out. Not sure how good this trick is, but it seems quite solid to me. Probably don't need a Weaker Witch. at this point. I guess I could cut the Field Creeper. This would leave me with 4 2-drop. I want to have 5 2-drop. I think it's a minimum if you want to be aggressive. I think I can afford to play 16 land. Maybe it's greedy. Yeah, I think it's not that greedy actually. My curve is pretty stacked. I like all my 4-drops. I think the Outcast is probably one of the weakest cards, but it's fine, and I need creatures. I like all my 3-drop. Yeah, I'm gonna try this with 16 land. I think it's fine. And I'll put slightly more red because of the werewolf. I mean the 2-wolf, I guess. I guess with this one and that one, having more mana could be... yeah. Maybe I can get Expose Evil. I kinda like that card in aggressive deck though. Field Creeper is not very appealing, but... yeah. The thing is, if I don't hit my 2-drop creature with this deck, it's not like I have a good late game, so I really want to make sure I can beat down early on. Accomplice is pretty good against me, by the way. I have quite a bunch of creatures, but I still think Scarecrow is quite good, especially when most of my creature will cost less than that, and it's pretty much the top of my curve. Yeah, all 4-drops seems really solid. I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, I think I can afford to play 16 land, but I have a few ways to use my mana, my extra mana. If I have too many lands, I can discard them to the Constable. I have this that I can pump, this that I can pump. I have 2 Clue Makers, and I have 2 Werewolf that requires mana to flip. Field Creeper is super unexciting, but I'm pretty adamant about playing 5 2-drop creatures. I'm really not sure. Not a huge fan of Constable again, but I think it looks quite solid in that deck. I'm gonna cut the Field Creeper and add 10-7, I think. Maybe 9-8. I don't have that many white. That match white, I guess. It's close. Also, having more 2-drop creature is pretty important for the Gossip Monger. Yeah, I think I want to play the Creeper. So it would be 9-7. I think it's greedy, but I'm gonna go with that. Because there is really nothing I want to cut. That's the issue. There's probably a card I'm overrating that I could cut. I'm not sure. My cover is pretty low, but again, I have some ways to use my extra mana, so it's really tough, really tough. I think that it's looking pretty solid though. That was my first Eldritch Moon draft, so yeah, I think it's fine. It's fine to have a deck that I can use and that feels decent, though not super powerful and super funny. We'll see how it performs. I hope you enjoyed that draft. If you did, feel free to drop a like and also leave a comment. That'd be appreciated if you have anything to say or to advise. And I see you in a few minutes for round 1.